Putting the hat on, everybody. If you know what the Cardinal Cowboy is all about, America loves the underdog. You're going to love this interview. Stay tuned, everybody. Welcome back, everybody, to Your Little Castle Show. We get to do a lot of fun stuff in the community, and we were just chatting about it's somebody would say, Cowboy, why are you always marketing? You're always wearing your outfit. You're always wearing, because I have a message, because I believe I have something to share with people about, I overcame a coma. You had a tough situation as a youth that you overcame.
There you go.
Somebody said, hey, I can do this. I don't care what anybody says. I'm 5'7", I'm 6'4", I can do whatever. Those 5'7" guys, 5'8", 5'9" with my cleats on. I always measured us with the cleats on because it made us look a half inch taller.
There you go.
But anyway, you can accomplish anything. And I said, if you believe in something, you got to rep it all the time.
Yeah.
That's where you're wearing your gear here. I like that. Because why wouldn't you? Because you do not believe in what you're doing then?
Yeah.
You've got to rep it all the time. People will question whether or not you believe in what you're doing. If you don't believe in what you're doing, then why would they support you? Why would they buy from you? Why would you conquer the world and help many people along the way? We got an awesome example of that right here, everybody. Sam, I'm going to put it up there so everybody can see. Westhoff. That Westhoff name is kind of known around this part of the planet.
Yeah.
Great-grandfather,
Yep.
like we mentioned in the first show.
Yep. Mayor of O'Fallon, obviously, a while back. Was a big part of the community, had a park named after him for that reason. We had our name all over Rascal Stadium at one point. I think Ozzie Smith bought that out, and now he owns the name for that. But, just a person that set a good example, obviously, and was out more for the community than he was himself, which is something I think everybody should strive to be, and this world would be a little bit different if that was the case.
Okay, now we're hitting on some important stuff. We're going to go off on a little tangent here. But literally, is it more important to have money or to be happy? I literally said to my mom, things are going like I hoped. I'm doing really well. I'm not going to say numbers out loud, but it was in that 7-figure thing that we're trying to all get to, right?
Yeah.
And so she says, Carter, over the phone, I could see her looking at me over the phone, and she said, Carter, money is not what makes you happy.
It's true.
They've named the building after my mom. She's had some famous actors that are partaking. She'll come back to support her, John Goodman in particular, because you're doing what's right. And that, ultimately, it ends up, am I being selfish because I want to be happy? Because along the way of happiness from helping other people, that's called a win-win.
That is.
Right? If other people benefit from what we're doing to help the community and we end up happy because of it, thank goodness it's that way, because if everybody had to be millionaires to be happy, there'd be a lot of unhappy people.
There absolutely would.
So I love what Sam was talking about there. That is exactly right. Be proud of the people who got their name on a building, on a park, because they obviously did something beyond just making money for themselves.
Yeah.
Another way to do it, though, is to make a lot of money and then donate it to somebody.
True.
And then you get to help. They put the name on the building, too, for that, too. But that's because you worked really hard, gave a lot of jobs along the way. So awesome. Great start to show number 2. Sam is enlightening us here with some of his wisdom, and I appreciate him taking the time to come here and talk about that. Very humble guy, by the way. I just like to point out, this guy knows what he's doing.
Thank you, sir.
He probably wouldn't tell you, but I will. How about that? Do you do residential and commercial, or what is your primary focus? And
we
how
absolutely
much of each
do.
would you say?
I would say we are probably 70-30, more residential than we are commercial. It really doesn't affect us business-wise which route we go. We do like the residential aspect more than the commercial aspect. It gives us a little more freedom. We get a little bit more reward out of the project when it's fully completed than we do in the commercial aspect. But, at the end of the day, business is business, and you got to kind of tackle everything to be successful. So we don't nit and pick what we do by any means. We don't choose our jobs. We're not that type of company. But we get satisfaction both ways. I'd just say you get a little more satisfaction when you get a very happy homeowner in front of you, rather than a business who may have just subbed you out because they seen your name and you didn't even personally get to meet the person who hired you sometimes,
Well said there, because ultimately you got to determine what direction you're going to go with your business and how you do that. And as you see that, I begin to realize, when you're in commercial versus residential, you have a boss to report to either way.
Yeah.
But the boss at the house generally has complete control and makes all the decisions right there.
True.
You get into commercial, okay, we got to get approval here, we got to get this change over there, and the municipalities are going to be involved, and okay, that gets to be quite a bit more work. So that's why you enjoy residential more, you say?
Yes, absolutely. There's a little more freedom in it, I guess you could say, and a lot more communication. Obviously, homeowners tend to look at things a little bit different than the guy who's contracted out to do a job for a business or what have you. But we do a lot of maintenance for commercial side. That's more of our kind of bread and butter on the commercial side of things. But really, at the end of the day, you take on what you can, and what you can't, you either recommend somebody who can, or we move away and step aside and go, this is outside of our comfort zone. We try not to take on or bite off more than you can chew.
Good question. Good point. That leads me to another question. How often, especially this is a tip I think is good for those starting a business. When you're starting a business, sometimes you take whatever job you can get, and then you learn big lessons many times, good and bad, with regard to, we messed that up, or we did something we didn't think we could do. Either way, you benefit from that. But at what point in your career now where you're like, we now focus on what we want? You said you take any kind of job generally, but but at the end of that, you say also times there's like, just not our thing. So is that one of the things you had to progress with over time and start off here and then now you learn from that?
To an extent, yeah, I'd say. I mean, there were some things that we may have took on in the beginning that were more challenging than not. Obviously at the beginning of any business, the goal is to put food on the table, to be successful, to pay the bills, to not go under, as well as build a brand, build a name, for yourself along the way. So a lot of people I know we did in a few instances. We never bit off more than we could chew. I will say that. We always had our ducks in a row before we got into that environment to begin with. But part of that is also having, a good group of contractors behind you. We have a lot of guys that we do work with along the side for that reason. There's no one person, unfortunately, is a master of everything. They're just not. When it comes to building a house, there's several contractors that build your house. One guy does not build it from A to B. And if he did, unfortunately, he's not an expert at all them things. I hate to say that, but generally isn't. So, you got to tackle what you're an expert in and leave the rest to the experts that consistency, doing a lot of work with a lot of different contractors. You learn who to use and who not to. And you save the homeowner that ability to fail a couple times before they win, But, yeah, I mean, we actually, starting next year, kind of jumping into a new category of renovations, because we've tackled a lot of it along the way. It is in our DNA. We do a lot of it. It's just going to be another entity to our corporation. Sometimes you grow into different companies to support the company. You don't have to be one man band and specialize in one thing, and we're learning that. You only tackle what you can achieve, and we can achieve what we're dipping into next year, put it that way.
Yeah, well, I'd say ultimately you see a need, what it comes down to. You're going, all right, man, how often am I going to keep turning this over to somebody else, or telling the client, hey, we don't do that, go find somebody for that particular thing. You're going, man, we can't keep doing that. That's what's kind of what happened over here. We're like, how many people do I see mess up the websites and mess up the video and mess up stuff? I'm like, I can't keep telling people, go somewhere else. I'm going to do it myself.
Yeah.
Kind of the same concept. You're like, hey, man, we got this. We've got the expertise.
Yeah.
We got the tools. Just another thing that we're going to take on. So
Absolutely.
We can make sure and do it right.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's a lot of different revenues to business. You see some entrepreneurs jump off and tackle 10 different businesses, and not that we say we're not going to do that at some point, but we tend to put all the ducks in a row, before we take a jump. We know what our ability is. We trust our team, and we know that we can be efficient, and a lot more efficient than some of the people we've used in the past at doing this. So that's going to be our next leap into the field.
Tell me the time when you helped a client. You've obviously been doing this for a long time, but give me a couple examples of people like you could see they were in a tough situation.
Yeah.
They might have been left out on a limb with a previous contractor, or just in a bad situation because something happened, freak of nature, whatever. And
we had a lady about 5 years ago that had a pretty bad failing wall, to the point where she was an elderly lady. She was having trouble already getting in and out of her garage. She had a bad concrete driveway. She had a failing wall that was done 5-6 years by a previous contractor who said they could tackle it, and they did. They just did not do it correctly, unfortunately. So years down the road, this thing's fallen. She didn't have the income. She didn't have the ability to do this, obviously, herself, and didn't have the family to come help. So we did a drastic discount on the project. As we said before, not everybody can give projects away. I wish we were in that, ability to do that and give everything away, but we're just not. So we stepped in, a huge discount on that job, obviously, to make sure that that job was fulfilled, done properly, and kind of one of those things where you wish you could do it more often. It may not be the most financial thing to do at times, but at the end of the day, you kind of got to step back and look at things and go, man, when that's my day, when I'm that person, you hope this comes around tenfold. You hope karma comes back around, put it that way, in the right way, So as things give and time goes, we do a lot of sponsorships. We just sponsored a disc golf charity event that they're doing. We did a pretty good car show last year that we were a part of. All these things go to local fire department, local police department. Children Indeed, Make-A-Wish is the most recent one that we're actually part of. So we try to help out in any way we can off the beaten path of work as well. If we can donate, if we can help the community, we will. We absolutely will.
Well, that's what I was hoping you would get to. I'll let him keep going there because Sam's really helping explain the way this works. And that is when you help other people, it's a physical, literal path to a success because people, it's an intangible where I'm just going to go do some good things for people. How am I going to benefit from that? That's what you think about when you're in your teens and maybe your early 20s. And then the light bulb starts going on. By the time you've done this for a few times, word spreads. People talk to each other. This little planet, everybody on this little planet communicates one way or another, whether that's word of mouth, social media, texting, emails, face-to-face, whatever it is. And we're going to share it with those people who are doing good. And people hear about the good things you're doing. I was fortunate to, I don't know if my mom was like, why do you keep doing so much charity work? She's a teacher, don't get me wrong. Her job is a giant charity thing, literally donating her time to help youth, right? She gets paid for it. But so does charities pay their people as well. But anyway, the point is, when you start to help other people, she's like, you got enough of that, Carl. I'm like, it just makes you feel so good. But it also then does, and I look back, I'm like, I was just doing it because I felt like I had to give back because I was lucky to be alive. And there's some people that put their life on the line to keep me, from harm's way or after the harm happened to help me recover. And then I realized, oh man, all these people now that I've met that I got to build relationships with through those efforts are the ones that are looking out for me business-wise too. Is that kind of the way it works?
Yeah, I mean, we're nowhere near what a lot of people do for the community. I mean, you just listed it. The guys that go into a burning building, obviously. The guys that are protecting us on a daily basis for us to just go outside and build a project, So we're no way in shape or form competing with these guys or will we ever be able to. But we do try to put our 2 cents in and try to help in the ways that we can. It's kind of past the hat type of situation. If we do it, hopefully somebody sees us doing it and continues to do the same thing. And that small print leaves a big impact over time. So
that's the way the world works, everybody. For people trying to take shortcuts and take advantage and misrepresent and to do things that are less than proficient or honest, integral, you're hurting yourself. That's the way it works. With that, technology has changed the world quite a bit. I'll share a little bit, kind of start off the conversation, but this book will help you. I wrote the foreword. I said, Carter, you're like the master at magnetizing media. We want you to write the introduction here. It's called the foreword. I wrote 18 pages. I was supposed to write, or 1,800 pages, sorry. I ended up being a lot of work put in over years. It took me an evening to write it, like 3 hours. But when I got done, they said, Carter, that is great. That's what we needed because we want people to understand how important it is that you understand how to magnify. Should I mark the page here? I'm trying. There it is. There it is. That they took that mug and put me in there. But this little book will help you. Technology has made a big impact on the way things are done. You understand that. It's interesting talking to somebody. Here's a normal situation I hear from people. Yes, I paid somebody a lot of money to do my website.
Yeah.
Hey, do it right rather than not do it. But you took the time to do it yourself and got a great looking website. Congratulations. That's not normal. Good work on that. Next level, we've talked about it. We're going to put this video on your website because people deserve to hear. Because a lot of people, it's a matter of, it's not nature for people to want to read. It's not nature for people intuitively dig in and find the answer. You got to make it easy for people.
Yeah.
A video helps make that happen, and Sam here has made a great example of some of the ways he's helping our community. So with that, tell us quickly, and when we come back from the break, I want you to tell us the technologies you've used, whether that's just for your business and lifting things with bigger devices, or what you've done with regard to technology in the world of marketing and CRM. Anybody know what CRM is?
I do not.
All right, we're going to talk about what a CRM is too, everybody. Client Relation Management. We'll talk about it in a second. Stay tuned, everybody. We'll be back here after this little break from our community work. Giddy up.
All right, everybody, we're going into Perform Fitness. And Como, let's see what's going on in here.
Hey, Carter. Welcome
Como, how
back.
are you doing?
Good. Me there, and our coaches.
What is that's to help the community? I mean, a lot of people, health has just become kind of a secondary issue for many people when it should be a lot more important. What do you specialize in here to make a difference?
Yeah, I think a well-rounded, multidisciplinary approach to fitness and to wellness will make it accessible to adults and youth of all ages. We're going to have a motion analysis tool, much like the collegiate and pro programs have, to look at biomechanics. It's called the MPAS, coming from the University of Missouri. And so we're able to have all those touch points: nutrition, talk about sleep, talk about just all around biomechanics, PT, ATs, all together under one roof to be able to service our athletes and athletes of all different ages, all different calibers, that have all different aspirations. So we want to be the strength and conditioning resource for coaches, for parents, for adults, for professionals in the community, just to have functional fitness, and if their goal is more competitive fitness, to be able to help them excel at that.
Cool, well, let's take a tour around here. You can show us a little bit more. I'm gonna get my multi-purpose camera expert to stand right here and hold the camera, everybody. So if you would, go ahead and walk over towards your, over there. I'm gonna join you in just a second. Our mics are wireless and well equipped to go a long distance. Okay, so show me a little bit about what you have going on here.
Yeah, so this is a rig. We have another rig that's a little bit smaller on that side to allow for adult and youth strength training to happen at the same time. Our conditioning area is in the corner and on the turf where they can sprint also. But here's some Intech equipment. It's barbell. Yep, and then our benches are set up. Here you can do an incline. We have several benches and then 2 full sets of dumbbells, lots of plates, all that have our logo of Perform Fitness. You want to give it a whirl?
I'll do a lift with no weights on it. Is that okay?
Perfect.
Back in the day, this used to be how you would.
His name is Carter Rethwich, but in St. Louis, he's known as the Cardinal Cowboy. He's a well-known fixture in the stands at sporting events in the Gateway City. He's one of its greatest cheerleaders, a super fan like no other. When he makes his rounds at almost every home game, he shares his love for sports with the rest of fandom with a smile, a cheer, some positive encouragement, and lots of selfies and pics. But the Cardinal Cowboy was born of a tragic incident. Rethwich was an aspiring athlete in high school and college. He dreamed of playing in the big leagues, but those dreams ended when he and 3 of his college friends were hit with a devastating crash by a 5-time drunk driver. One of his best friends died. Carter suffered a critical head injury. The trauma put him in a coma for 6 days. The doctors said he was never expected to function again. Those expectations never came true. He fought back and finished college. He was determined to prove the doctors wrong. Among other inspirations, it was his love of baseball that kept him going. And from his near-death experience, the Cardinal Cowboy emerged. His goal in life became to inspire others with positivity despite the odds, to help people believe in themselves and achieve their dreams.
So after my coma, I realized that it was up to me if I was going to accomplish my goals, if I was going to reach my dreams. Despite what the naysayers would say, the people that were discouraging me, like they do everyone, it's up to me if I'm going to make it. Don't listen to the naysayers. It's up to you. You decide whether you're going to succeed, whether you're going to reach your goals. Dream, and then always, always chase your dreams. Never give up. Giddy up. Hey everybody, Cardinal Cowboy here. I want to invite all of you to be part of my new team. No, you don't have to put on a baseball uniform and be a super fan. Now, it would be a good idea to cheer for the Cardinals, the greatest team in the history of the National League. But I'm talking about the Gold Cowboy team. You know I love to help people follow their dreams and reach their goals in business and in life. So that's one of the reasons why I'm telling you about my friends at My Metal Pro. They help people like you and I acquire gold and silver with a membership that lets you safely buy, sell, and store gold and silver. They make it real easy to get started. My Metal Pro isn't like the big guys you see on network TV or the big coin shops that take a huge commission. So become part of my Gold Cowboy team. Scan the QR code or go to goldcowboy.com and check it out. Giddy up!
Well, there we have it, ladies and gentlemen, where we literally got so many good leaders that we get to go visit out in the community. So thanks for those businesses that want to share what they're doing here. So with you, Sam, tell me then as we finish up here, we got about 7.5 minutes left. We broke with that question. How has technology changed the world for you,
Man,
your business?
In more ways than we could talk about in 7 or 8 minutes, for sure. I grew up in a time where there wasn't cell phones, obviously, as a lot of us did. So seeing where we're at now and back in the day, if you started a business, you wanted to start it with an A because you were the first one in a phone book, the first one to scroll through. So, here we are decades later, and it's, at the click of a button, I can look up 1,000 contractors. I can look up 1,000 reviews. I can learn how to do something that I've particularly never done. It may not be the best way to learn, but you're going to learn something. So what it is, there's no comparison. There's no question of where it's taken us. We're all going to learn real soon. But it has definitely generated a huge impact on our business. I mean, just to have the ability we do now, going from a normal drawing on a piece of paper to a 3D CAD where it looks and shows your project to a T. We can change things right there and make it identical to what it will be in real life. It's amazing where we're at right now.
Well, that's in the businesses that stay on top of the technology. I learned the hard way, or I guess it's the hard way, because I had to literally go in and upgrade Microsoft Exchange servers once a month. We had to do the patch updates because Microsoft had some improvements or some vulnerabilities or some things they found that didn't work the way they thought they did. And I even taught Microsoft a couple problems. They're like, we don't have a Q article for that, but we're going to write one now. Thank you, Cowboy. Look that up. But the point is, it's constant evolution. There's a constant improvement. That's the way the world is. If you want to be the best, you're always going to have to be improving because your competitors are. And that's good for the whole world, really. A little competition that makes us get better, to find further innovations, to find further improvements, and then it makes it better for everybody. As long as we keep a handle on it. This AI stuff coming, everybody's going to be really crazy. But tell me then, after a lot of researcher and people digging in and probably listening to this interview, tell me the process. Somebody's got to be going, Sam knows what he's talking about. We can trust these guys.
I hope so.
Empire is going to get my business. How do people get started with you?
Back to that social media. They can find us basically anywhere. They can find us on Facebook, on Instagram, on Google, online, obviously. They can give us a call. We basically make the process pretty easy. From the consultation, from setting up an appointment, which we make at your adequate hours. Our sales team sets up an appointment. Somebody meets you out there, sees exactly what you got going on. The process begins. Whether it's a quick advice and consultation and a little food for thought at what you might want to do, to a 3D, 4D CAD design, and the process just goes on from there. We're fortunate that our team is just the best we can have. We took quite a bit of time to get to where we are to have that team, but it is very simple. It's very easy, and you can always come back and use us down the road if you want time to think or go back or make changes. We make changes. We do free estimates. We don't charge you to show up at your door. So free and easy. It can't make it much better than that.
I like that strategy. I've adopted similar strategy for our business here. When we did it, went 5 times what we had before. But people can taste it. When they see it, they can tell you're professional. They can see the results that they're going to get. Then you meet with them face to face at their residence, at their business. Then they know here's a real person.
Yep.
That they can. And hopefully, if they don't go as far as that just yet, the video will help them to get there.
I hope so.
Because they want to talk about it. And thank you, Sam, for taking the time to sit down and talk to us about that. Because people need to meet who they're going to spend $10, $20, $30, $50, $100,000.
Absolutely.
When they're and make sure a job like this is a job you don't want to mess up, right? Not that there's anything out there like even if we spent $10, we want to. It's not as painful though, but get these things and get them done right. All right, well then, tell me. Obviously, somebody's been in business, so I like to have people share with us a challenge you might have had to overcome, a growth during the time of your business, or a time where you saw somebody else who was struggling and you had to step in and fix something? Can you give me a good example of a challenge you've overcome with your business?
We were a good example of ourselves. You know, when you start off, you do start off small. You know, you don't take on more than you can, handle at that point in time. But I will say my biggest challenge in business was learning the new technology. It really was. Businesses, a lot of guys think, I'm going to start a business because I'm good at what I do. Well, what you do is irrelevant to running the business, at the end of the day. So you can be the best wall installer or the best paver patio guy or the best outdoor living guy, but if you can't run the business behind that, good luck getting forward, So my biggest learning hurdles were exactly that. We're learning technology. We're learning how to bring in the leads. We're bringing in the jobs that we knew we were capable to do. So that was my biggest hurdle, and we're still learning because technology is still learning and we're still going. But learning business isn't just building the actual project, but building the business and the brand is a whole nother learning process of its own. So that was my hurdle.
Yeah, I would say there's that. I love that one because it's hard for a lot of business owners to admit, I don't know everything. But if somebody doesn't admit they don't know everything, then be scared of those people. Because anybody claims they know everything is a fool. But I love that because I'm thinking about times where I sat in meetings watching very senior vice presidents, presidents, CEOs look over me and say, Carter, what do we do? I'd say, there's a lot of things I can't help you with. But this is the reason you have me in this meeting is because there's an opportunity I have here to share with you things that will change your business. Yeah. And I've been able to do it at some of the highest levels out there, some of the biggest companies I've worked with. But I appreciate you coming on here because and acknowledging that. Nobody that, to my recent recollection, has talked about. It is so important. Like, you're great at building walls. You're great at fixing somebody's knee. You're great at prosecuting an attorney for whatever. That's what you're great at. But you got to market yourself. And if you don't market yourself, then you're never going to make it.
Absolutely.
The best, whatever you are on the face of the planet, doesn't matter if they don't know who you are.
That's right.
So call me, everybody. I'll help you with that. And I appreciate Sam emphasizing that point because it is so true. I got some people that I've got lawyers that come to me and they're like, Cowboy, what should I do? Here's what I've got. Here's a strategy I've got. I've had lawyers come to me and say, we want to team up with you. I can tell you very specifically. You can see the past shows we've done, how that came about. But take the time to learn this technology and get into the marketing. If you want me to help you, let me know. All right, we're going to finish up here. We got about a minute left. What is the biggest objection somebody might have when somebody's ready to do business, except for what is the biggest objection almost every time? Usually it does come down to a dollar amount. Especially in this scope of work, not everything is apples to apples. So it's not, I'm going to cut your grass, he's going to cut your grass. It's, I want this profound outdoor living area. Well, what I propose to you may be different than what they propose, and the next guy proposes, and the next guy proposes. So it's very hard to choose a contractor when things are so different on each estimate you get. It really goes back to doing your own homework and making sure that the contractor you're picked allows you to go through everything you want to go through. If you want to go check out one of their projects in person that they're doing now, if you want to see a past project they're doing, some of this does go past technology. Technology can fool a lot of people. There you go, everybody. More wisdom. Stay tuned, everybody. This is the Your Little Castle Show. Giddy up.